Ave strategos, I'm Pericles and welcome to my channel. So today we are looking to the second episode of our religious building series in the channel. If you remember at the first episode we talked about the Julii temples, and in this turn in this episode basically we'll be talking about the Brutii temples. And as I mentioned already before, probably next turn will be the Scipii, and then we can jump to the rest of the world. Let's not lose too much time and just jump right to the temples here. So the Brutii giving us options of Juno, Mercury, and Mars. So let's start with the Juno. So the Juno is in the game files. It's called Temple of Healing. And let's check the bonuses of the Temple of Healing's first tier building. Shrine to Juno gives us 5% public order bonus due to happiness. Population growth bonus per turn due to health is 0.4% and public order bonus 5%. So basically gives us 10% public order bonus overall and 0.5% population growth bonus. Which makes sense. The healing temple probably gonna focus on happiness and populational growth. It's has similar stats as the Julii series, the fertility temple. But let's go ahead and check what kind of followers, traits we are being able to get after building this temple. So the only trait that we can obtain for our merchants is devotion to healing, as you already guessed probably. Devotion to healing has 100% of chance at the end of the turn. Once you click to the end turn, for the next turn for your merchant to get this devotion. Similar with the rest of the devotion traits that we've seen in the first episode, 100% chance that you're gonna get it. The only thing you need, only thing it requires, having at least shrine to Juno and buildings above, and just having a merchant sitting in the town once you clicking the end turn. That's it. Next turn, 100% chance you're getting it. And there is nothing else the shrine to Juno grants us in the first tier. Let's go to the second tier of the Juno building, is Temple of Juno. Our public order bonus went up to 10% from 5, same as our public order bonus here. So and our population grow bonus increases to 1% from 0.5. So we see the steady double basically effects in here, which makes sense. And let's check what kind of traits we're getting. There's no other basically bonuses in any Juno tree that comes for the agents anymore, so we'll be just looking at to our general. So this guy, the Knight Fighter, by the way, as you already know, I'm using console commands for cleaning all my general traits and followers, so I can show you clearly what kind of traits and followers we're getting. I just somehow couldn't clean this trait. I couldn't find how it's called. If anybody knows, I would appreciate if you guys can just leave it as a comment at what's this trait called, but I just couldn't find it. So the first trait we're looking at is in the pink, +2 to your general's hit points. It means how many hits your general can take before dying. For me, it's very important, very useful trait, because as you already know, I do like to play with the generals. I do like to play with my general cavalry. They're pretty strong, especially in the beginning of the game. And once you're doing Marian reforms, the Roman cavalry is still being a supreme power. So having +2 health for your general's hit points is huge. I hate to losing my general in a stupid charge against the peasants and somehow my general dies, or any other situation that when I have like more than half of my general cavalry remains but general dies somehow. So this just decreases the chances of your general dying in the battlefield. And it has also another trait. And in the game, by the way, it's called the Hale and Hearty one. That's how it's called in the game files. And each turn your general has a 10% of chance for being able to get this trait if you're sitting in a settlement which has already built the Temple of Juno. So there's another trait. It's called, if I'm not pronouncing it wrong, hypochondriac, which I couldn't add to this guy because it is the opposite trait of in the pink. So I just added to my faction leader here. It is a feeling poorly trait, -1 command when attacking and -2 from your general's hit points. As I said, it's the completely opposite trait. It also takes 1 command point attacking. I don't care about this one, but this is important. And also basically it's a debuff. I wouldn't like to see that in my general at all. Unfortunately, the Temple of Juno doesn't grant you any kind of guarantee that which one you're gonna get, so you might get both, and it's kind of a bit of risky situation in here. And you will just basically build that building, sit in the settlement, and hope that in the pink will come instead of the feeling poorly. If it's me, for sure I will be getting feeling poorly. I usually not lucky with that kind of stuff. I learned to make the bread from the stone, so this is a gamble that I wouldn't play probably. So let's check the followers that requires at least the Temple of Juno and buildings above. The first follower we're looking at is a physician, and our family member has 15% of chance for each turn in order getting the physician. Increases the chances of having children, improves the chances of casualties recovering from their own wounds. For me is a great follower, very nice basically touches, very nice buffs it grants. Increase of having children, we've already talked with the previous episode, is for me is a nice thing. I do like to have a lot of generals so I can use their cavalry, and improves the chances of casualties. Let's say after 1 point in the game, you're just walking around with the full stacks, fighting full stack against full stack, so basically recovering the casualties, increasing the chances of increasing the chances of basically the casualty recovery is very important in that point, and you might get a lot of use of it. So you can go ahead and conquer 3 cities instead of 2 maybe, without coming back to the city that you trained your army and retrain it. So I would say that's a nice basically the follower for I would say any kind of general that you're giving an army to control. And another one is Priestess of Juno. So far we have only seen the priests, but the priestess works the same way as the priests, and it has 15% of chance for our general for being able to get this follower at the end of each turn. Gives us +1 management and +1 public health. Also improves the chances of casualties recovering from their wounds. And very nice as well. I do like to see the management. Public health is very good as well. And if you will ask me what's the public health, if you will open the settlement details, you're gonna see in the public order we have a health modifier, and in the populational growth we have a health modifier as well. So once your health is gonna be +1 or 2 points higher, it means your public order gonna be higher and your populational growth is gonna be higher. So it is nice to have it, especially basically with the management point combined. It's a nice governor trait, but this side is more like general trait, the frontline general. So it's kind of, I would say, the hybrid basically type of follower that you can use. Let's jump to the higher tier Juno buildings. That's all about the Juno tree. There is no other basically follower or or the traits that requires higher tier of Juno buildings. So you can get all the followers and traits that dependent on the Juno temple is stays on the second tier building. So the large temple of Juno, the bonus is increasing steadily here. Public order bonuses goes to the 15 from 10, and the populational growth bonus goes to 1 point half, and public orders goes to 20. Populational growth goes to 2% in here. And at the last stage in the Pantheon building, we have some extra bonuses. So public order bonus due to happiness is 25%. Populational grow bonus per turn due to health is 2.5%, and our public order bonus also 25. So this part we already had it. We have extra two things that comes in here, and trade income bonus 20% and experience bonus to troops trained here. Experience is very important, very nice to have. Basically, you're having much stronger units than before without even sending them to any kind of fight. So even your freshly recruited troops has 2 experience points, which means each experience point increases the armor, melee attack, and if they're missile attack and stuff, everything. So +2 is very nice. Trade income bonus 20%. It is buff. It is nice thing. I would rather to have it than not having, but it's not as good as this one. If you'll ask me why, because since you've already played until to the point that at least one of your cities is huge city and you decided to build a pantheon of Juno there, I don't think so in that point of the game you're gonna be struggling with money, unless if you just at least in my playstyle, after a couple turns, after expanding a bit, I'm always sitting over like 50, 100,000 dinars and never been able to use them. So it's like you have 100,000 dinars in your treasury. After this, you're gonna have 120,000 dinars in your treasury. If I'm not using them all, there's no point to have extra 20 there. I mean, it really depends. I'm not a guy that having 20, 25 like full stack armies around the map. I usually try to have 1 or 2 full stack armies in each basically conquest, in each front line. So I'm not just having like hordes in the map. So I'm never having an issue with money after one point. But the good thing about it, the Brutii is the faction that usually they are expanding towards the Greek peninsula and later on Anatolia, and all this area are very suitable for trade-based play, and especially with the Colossus of Rhodes gives you a naval bonus and stuff, so you can make a trade-based play around the Brutii, so it might be useful for you. So let's jump to the second basically temple line in the Brutii, which is Mercury. So the Mercury is the trade of trade, the god or goddess of trade, I'm not sure. So under the game files it goes the temple of trade. And let's check the first tier building. So with the first tier building, the Mercury Shrine gives us 5% public order bonus due to happiness and 10% income bonus. So since it's trade, it is not surprising to see the trade bonuses as early as the first building. That makes sense, and a bit of public order bonus, which is not bad. And let's just check out which kind of traits we can get after building this building here. So let's start with the merchant first. Our merchant doesn't have a devotion, so that's the first exception I have seen so far. All other Julii and all other 2 Brutii you're gonna see with the violence temple as well, they have a devotions, but the trade temple, Mercury temple, doesn't have a devotion. Instead they have something else that's called Merchants Guild Trained, which is +1 finance. And if you remember, the devotions was working in a way that it's give you +1 finance on some goods and -1 on the others, but this +1 works for all kind of goods, so there is no exceptions. It is a nice detail, since these guys are traders, they are merchants, and this is their basically ideology, and this is the Mercury is a god or a goddess of trade, and they're just not having any negative bonuses, so they just have a +1 finance. But also there's a different thing that how it works. So we said how the devotions works. You have to have the basically let's say the first tier of Juno building, shrine to Juno. You have to have a shrine to Juno in your settlement, and you have to have a merchant in your settlement which doesn't have any kind of devotions yet, and once you click the end turn, in the next turn this guy for sure getting devotion to healing. If it's a temple of, let's say, Jupiter, he's getting devotion to leadership or whatever. But the case is not the same with our merchant in here. So in order to being able to get this financial training, you have to build shrine to Mercury first. This building should be built, and then you can recruit this guy, you can recruit the merchant in that settlement, and once the agent is recruited, he will come with this trade, and it has 100% of chance. There's no way that this guy or any other merchants that will come doesn't get this trade. So if you have this building and if you're recruiting a merchant in your settlement, 100% chance you will get this. And don't take a look to the first one, because this already came with him. I couldn't remove it, so this is not related to the temple or stuff. And I will go to this guy a bit later, not just right now. Let's jump to our family member and see what's the shrine to Mercury. Does it give us to any kind of trait? The answer is no. But does it give us any kind of follower in the first tier? Yes, it does, which is wise man, and gives us +1 management. It is nice. I do like to see the management. I'm always basically I'm always down for it. There's a sad part that your general or family member has only 4% of chance for getting this basically follower for each turn. But also there is another basically condition that for getting wise man, that you should be basically met this requirement as well, which is your governor building should be governor's villa or lower. So it means the settlement you are sitting at and trying to get the wise man have to be a town or a large town. Probably they said, I mean, probably developers said, I mean, this 4%, these guys can get the wise man with 4%, but still looks too high. Let's put another condition. So if you're sitting in the minor city or above, just forget about them. So the bonus is good, but I don't know how hard you need to try for getting the wise man. If you're trying to collect the basically rare followers, yeah, that's the goal that you would like to achieve, but I wouldn't especially basically grind for it, you know. So let's jump to the second tier of Mercury building. It's called the Temple of Mercury, and our basically 10% public order bonus goes up to 10, and trade bonus goes to 20. We're observing double stats here, and that's where the things getting messy and interesting. We are getting a lot of traits and basically followers here. So let's start one by one. The first trait called Trader in the game files called Good Trader 1, and our guy has 10% of chance each turn to be able to get this trait. Gives him 10% bonus on all trade income. Again, on all doesn't mean the faction wise, it means this settlement he's sitting, which is Tarentum, so he increases the Tarentum's trade income by 10%. It doesn't affect to any other settlements. The other trait that comes or requires at least having the Temple of Mercury is a frugal here. In the game files is called Cheapskate 1, and 5% discount on construction costs, 5% bonus on tax income, and +1 scholar, which is decreases the population and the public order. So my personal opinion, 5% discount on construction costs and 5% bonus on tax income is not very huge, especially compared with the +1 scholar. Also decreases from your populational growth and the public order. I wouldn't take it if I had a chance, but unfortunately you don't have a chance. It just comes. So it is something that I'm thinking that not very looks like a positive trait, but I think it's not actually. So the other trait that requires at least the Temple of Mercury building is a financially irregular trait, -1 management. In the game files goes under Embezzler 1, and luckily we have 3% chance. Our general has 3% chance each turn for getting this trait. I'm not sure I forgot to mention or not, the frugal has a 8%, by the way, guys. So 10%, 8%, and 3% here. And That's nice. I wouldn't like to have a -1 management point. Anyways, it's difficult to keep the management high. So the last trait that comes with that requires the Temple of Mercury is Sly. In the game phase, it's called Deceiver Virtue. Improves the chances of getting elected to senatorial offices, and 5% bonus to your pupil. 5% bonus to your popularity with the Senate. So if you watch the first episode, I said I would rather have the Senate popularity rather than pupil popularity, so which is nice, and chances of getting elected to senatorial offices, which is nice. I do like to see both of them. Why? Because once you elected to the senatorial offices, most of the senatorial offices gives you plus influence plus management points, and they are always the things I would like to see, and this is nice. However, it's called in the game phase the Deceiver Virtue. I don't like to be a deceiver or something, but in the game that works for us, guys. So, and Deceiver 1 Virtue has 10% of chance for our general every turn for getting that. And let's jump to the followers here. So the temples that require the followers that requires the Temple of Mercury, at least the first one on the list is Freeman Clerk. This guy gives us +1 management and 10% bonus on tax income. Nice to have. It's a decent I would say follower, especially I wouldn't use this kind of follower in my frontline general, but it's a nice follower for basically the governors. Also gives you management, which management directly increases the turn income on your settlement, because of the higher your management, the higher admin bonus as a turn income goes up. So it is nice. Also 10% bonus on tax income, another plus for me. So I would basically say this guy would be nice for being transferred to one of the governors in the big cities. Firstly, let's see, if you have a couple of them, I would say just send it to the governor which sits in the biggest income city. So that's nice. And also let's go ahead and talk about how we can get it. Our general has 15% of chance at the for each turn for being able to get that follower, but there is another condition. If you want to get that guy, if you want to get Freeman Clerk, you in your settlement you have to have an academy built or above at least, so you can go ahead and rely on the 15% that okay, the Freeman Clerk now has a 15% of chance for my general. You have to have an academy or buildings above it. And the second one on the list is Idiot Savant. Exact same bonuses as the Freeman Clerk. We don't have to talk about it. Good again. There's a slight differences on the chances and the basically conditions. The Idiot Savant has basically the general has 5% of chance, very low, and also you have to have a governor's palace and above, so you have to be sitting at least in a minor city. So you can go ahead and say, okay, now I can go ahead and wait for the 5% of chance being happen, so my governor can get Idiot Savant. So that's the other follower that requires the Temple of Mercury. And the last basically follower that requires at least the Temple of Mercury building is the Priest. Doesn't have to mention, but I'll do. 15% of chance for our general for each turn to basically trigger this guy, +1 management and 10% bonus on all trade income. It is great, especially when you compare it with the other two. This guy has a tax income 10% bonus. I would all day take the 10% bonus on trade income over tax, since they have same management points, because in most of the settlements I believe you making more money on the trade than tax. Let's see in here. In here actually we're making more money on taxes, but For example, in those cities here, especially Athens, or I would say like a Pergamum, there's a big Byzantium, there's a big trade cities that would be very useful for you. So it's a great basically the governor follower as well. All the basically pretty much followers we have seen so far, they are all pretty decent followers for making a perfect governor. So that's it for the Temple of Mercury, I would say. Let's jump to the third tier building, large Temple of Mercury. Gives us a 15% bonus on the happiness instead of 10, and 30% income bonus instead of 20. And there's also a couple more traits that comes with it. The first one, again, we're jumping back to our merchant. Divine inspiration, I just mentioned a bit before. In the game files it goes merchant guild member. So merchant guild trained merchant guild member, and this one also have 100% chance as same as this guy, and works exact same, not like devotions, works exact the same way as the financial training. You have to, for being able to get this trait, first of all you have to build a large temple of Mercury in your settlement. Then you can recruit a merchant in that settlement, and the merchant will come with these two. So we said we just only needed the first tier Mercury building, shrine to Mercury. If you want to have both, you're gonna have to build a large temple of Mercury, and your merchant for sure will come with both these two traits. So just with the building this temple, you can start with extra 2 finance for all your merchants that you're gonna recruit in this settlement, and you can basically start making money faster, which is nice. And we have another, actually not a trait, but we have another follower that also requires at least a large temple of Mercury and above, is a numismatist. 10% bonus on all trade income. Since we are at the 4th tier, it means we have expanded a bit, we have grown up a bit as an empire wise, and I'm not so sure 10% of bonus on all trade income will do a great help or not. But again, if you're trying to build a perfect governor with the perfect followers and traits and a lot of bonuses, so why not? That sounds good. It won't hurt to have you. So that's a decent bonus as well on all trade. If it would be tax, I wouldn't be so basically excited about it, but trade kinda basically makes me a little bit feel better. So that's it about the large temple of Mercury, the third building of Mercury. So the fourth one, awesome temple of Mercury, 20% happiness bonus went up by 5%, and the trade income bonus went up by 10%. It was 30 and now it's 40 in the 4th level. And there's couple traits, and there's last follower that comes with it. Let's jump to the traits. So there's 2 traits that I should have added to my governor where sitting where the temple of Mercury is, but I added to my faction leader instead, because lover of beauty and mildly extravagant, these 2, they are the opposite traits of frugal. So if I would try to add them here, anyways, I couldn't be able to show you all 3 in the same guy, so I just chose to keep this one here and the other 2 in here. So let's start with those. Lover of beauty, in the game files it is called aesthetic 1, and our family member or governor has only 5% of chance after building the awesome temple of Mercury. He has only 5% of chance to obtain that trait. +1 influence, -1 command. -1 command doesn't hurt me so much, but +1 influence is I do find it useful. Mildly extravagant, probably in the game there is no other trait that bothers me more than this trait. In the game files it's called expensive tastes 1, and takes 1 management point from me. So awesome temple of Mercury is not the only trigger that you can get the basically expensive taste trait. And by the way, that also has a 5% chance every turn for my general or for my commander, for my governor to get that trait. It has a 5% here, but the Awesome Temple of Mercury is not the only requirement for it. So if you don't have an Awesome Temple of Mercury, your general or your governor might get that anti-trait if you have over basically 50,000 dinars in your treasury. It is just annoying. Like after one point in the game, I can't just spend all my money. It just keeps stacking, and whenever I leave a guy in the whenever I leave a governor in one of my settlements, they're always starting to have a -1, -2, -3. It starts with the mildly extravagant and then goes to extravagant and wildly extravagant or stuff, -1, 2, 3 management points, and I just hate this trait. Probably that's the most annoying one for me. That's the why I'm always trying to get the guys with the base basically high management points as a heir or a leader, so I can put a couple more with the followers. So these two, I can say the same thing for a lover of beauty here. Influence is useful, but this guy just hate you so much, more than Gauls. So about the other traits here, we have, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the Gourmet of Life. In the game files, it's called Epicurean 1, and our governor has 5% chance for each turn if you've already built the Awesome Temple of Mercury in the settlement. 5% bonus on all trade income, 10% decrease to cost to bribe. I have suffered a couple of times from being bribed, and usually it happened with the settlements because usually I'm not leaving too much garrison in there. Either order of band or two peasants in each settlement as a governing, just maintaining the public order. So 10% decrease on the cost to bribe. I don't know how anti-trade is for me, because anyways, if this guy is gonna get bribed, getting bribed to 9,000 dinars instead of 10, that money doesn't come to me anyways. If you know how the game bribe mechanic works, it goes to this guy's pocket, and I don't know where is this guy's pocket, but I'm not getting benefited from it, so it's not actually a debuff for me, but 10% bonus on all trade income is a bonus for me. So the other one on the list is actually these two. We've already seen them before. Likes a Flutter and the Casual Adulterer. We've already seen them from the Julii Temple. I think it was a Bacchus, if I'm not mistaken. Gambling one and the Girls one. In the Julii Temple, this had a 10% chance for my governor to get that trait, and I think this Girls had a 5% chance. But with the Mercury, they are much less. The both is holding 3% of chance, so our governor just has 3% of chance each turn to be able to get one of those, or if he's super lucky, maybe both of them at the same time. So that's the old traits about the Mercury, and we have one follower left, Procurator, 10% bonus on tax income. So Procurator has decent 20% chance for the governor to be able to get it if he's sitting in a settlement with the Awesome Temple of Mercury. But I just talked a bit earlier, 10% on tax income doesn't blow me away, but it's not bad. It's not something I would say, oh, I don't want it. I mean, if I'm trying to maximize all the incomes, I would just keep this guy as a follower for my governor. And that's it about the followers, and let's just go ahead and check their pantheon as well in the last tier. So our public order bonus goes to 25 from 20, and trade income goes to 50 from 40, and we are getting 3 new bonuses. The first one on the list is population grow bonus by 1%. Not useful for me while I am sitting in a huge city. I don't need the city grow more than that. Public order bonus 10%. It is important, especially with the big huge cities. And experience bonus to the troops trained here +1 again is important. I do like to start with extra experience point on my units here, which I do like this too, but dislike this one. So Let's jump to the last and my also probably the most used, my favorite one by the Brutii, Shrine to Mars. And Mars is, I believe, it was a god or a goddess of violence. So in the game, it's a temple of violence. And let's double check what the Shrine to Mars in the first tier gives us. It gives a 5% public order bonus due to happiness. In the first tier, I would say it stays a step or two behind of their competitors, which is, as you see, these guys are getting public order, but also getting population bonus, and this guy gets 10% trade bonus, but only public order bonus here, which is fine. This is usual. This branch is getting stronger in the higher tiers. Not a great start though. In the first tier, probably you can guess our merchant gets devotion to violence. Only sitting only for our merchant, only sitting at the settlement with Shrine to Mars is enough for him for the next turn to be able to get this trade. +1 finance for the live goods and -1 for the homewares, and we have one follower for our family member or a general that requires at least a Shrine to Mars, which is wrestler. +1 influence, +1 personal security. Influence is good, personal security is also good. It's a buff, but not like impresses me that much. It's better than not having it, but I don't think so. Personal security is something like I will be specifically looking, but extra 1 influence point, it is huge. So basically, this wrestler, our governor, has a 12% of chance for obtaining the wrestler trait if he's sitting on a settlement with Shrine to Mars. But there's another condition, which if you want to get the wrestler, the settlement is sitting should have a Shrine to Mars, and additionally, governor's building should be governor's palace or lower tier buildings. So you can't get the wrestler if your settlement is large or huge city already. So this is kind of more early game, I would say, early to mid game follower. So that's it with the Shrine to Mars. Let's jump to the higher tier building. Second tier is gonna be the Temple of Mars. Our public order bonus go up to 10 from 5, and we started getting experience bonus to troops trained here, +1 point. As you see, both experience points we got from the other, let's say the competitor temples, they are coming at the 5th tier at the Pantheon building, but even at the second basically tier of the Mars building, we're starting getting already some experience points, which is I think huge, especially that early in the game. They're useful. And let's jump to the traits and followers we are getting from it. Not looking into the faction here. So anger in the game files is called anger 1, and our governor has 10% of chance every turn for obtaining that trait, and takes 1 influence point from our governor. That's a debuff, as you see, and there's probably nothing to talk about. I wouldn't like to basically lose my influence point for that trait. And there is bloody in the game files called Bloodthirsty 1, also has a 10% of chance for our governor to obtain that title, but compared with anger, it's much better, not because of the +1 command point it gives, but because of the +1 morale, which is very important. There's not too many traits, followers, or buildings that grants morale, so morale is very important. That's something I'm always looking for. And the last basically a trait that requires the Temple of Mars is lively. It's called energetic 1 in the game files. Gives us +1 management, plus 10% movement points, plus and the 5% discount on the construction costs. So I'm not so sure. I do understand discount and management. This is more for a guy, for a, let's say, governor, for a family member that is governing a settlement. But the movement points for a governor, I'm not so sure how important it is. But also you can think of this way. If this guy is let's say the general, he's basically benefiting from the movement point because he's going to conquest and moving around the map, and discount on the construction costs also decreases, if I'm not mistaken, the price of watchtowers and the forts, so it might be useful. Also the buildings, let's say he's spending a turn or two in the settlement he captured, so you can just go ahead and use this 5% discount bonus, but not like something supreme here. And this one also, no, this one has a 15% of chance for our governor or general to be able to get it. And the last, basically the follower for the Brutii temples is the priest of Mars. Same with all other priests, 15% of chance and +2 commando when attacking. Even I do like the Mars temple line a lot, but I don't like the priest. I would say priest of Mercury is much better, especially I think it was priestess of Juno. I think that's the best one alongside this three, but I'm not a great fan of priest of Mars, so it doesn't blow me away. And this guy, as I already mentioned, has a 15% of chance for our governor general to get it. And let's jump to the higher tiers. We have a large temple of Mars. Our public order bonus goes up to 15 from 10, and experience bonus goes +2 in here. We are already getting decent amount of experience without even sending our armies to fight. And at the 4th tier we are getting 20% public order bonus due to happiness again, and this time we're getting +3 experience. And also we've already talked about these units. We're being able to train the Arcanis. So what are the Arcanis, if in case if you've missed and never seen these guys, because it's not being played commonly? They are basically the units that I would say have a very niche kind of use, very specific kind of use. They have a good morale, good melee attack, good defense and armor, has extra 2 hit points, and they can hide anywhere in the map if they're not moving, but their numbers soldiers in each band is less, so they're kind of, I would say, very specifically used, probably as a shock troops or something. If you like to basically use a diversity of troops in your army, that's a nice touch, nice addition. That might be a nice addition for you. So I'm not a great user of Arcanis, but it really depends on your game style. And let's check the Pantheon. So our bonus order, basically public order bonus due to happiness, goes up to 25 from 20. Our experience bonus stays same, it stays 3, but there is much more important thing coming here. Morale bonus to troops trained here, +1. So morale, you already know how basically sensitive I am about morale, so that definitely is worth than already a lot of stuffs. Trade income bonus 20%. I wouldn't say it's super useful in this stage of the game. If you've been able to build the Pantheon, it means you're at the sitting in a huge city, and I'm guessing you're gonna have decent amount of money in that time. But again, if you're expanding to the Greek peninsula and Anatolia, also this 20% trade income gonna feel you much better. And as well as trade income bonus, we're getting population grow bonus per turn due to health, 1%. I just can't understand, doesn't make a sense for me for having a population bonus in the last year. We've already talked about this, but public order bonus 10% addition is a nice touch. It is nice to have, and I do like to see that at the 5th tier Mars building. So guys, that's it. I hope I was able to cover everything clearly and with its details for you. I am very enjoying while I'm making this series, because there's a decent amount of knowledge I am acquiring for myself as well. I hope that applies for you all as well. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. And next turn, as I already mentioned, gonna be the Scipii temples, and I'm hoping that I'll be seeing you there.